tragedy that is unfolding before our eyes.
Philip Dunne.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Other speakers in this debate have had far more direct experience and have spoken very movingly of what this tragedy means to them and their colleagues and former soldiers and airmen. I was able to visit Afghanistan before the end of the combat mission 7 years ago, and on each occasion I was enormously impressed by the commitment and dedication of our armed forces, working alongside allies from many other countries and members of the Afghan Defence Force in seeking to provide security for the Afghan people. And it's been notable from most contributions today from both sides how the service and sacrifice of our armed forces has been appreciated and recognised for keeping us safe by preventing further international terror attacks from Afghanistan. We are proud of their heroism and must support veterans at this difficult time. Their efforts came at great cost in terms of lives lost, injuries sustained and money spent. But much was achieved, and has been said by others today. Afghanistan ceased to be a safe haven for terrorist groups. Lives of women and girls, particularly in the cities, was transformed, and as we've heard, millions of girls have been to school to receive an education which cannot be unlearned. Women were able to work, to take part in government at regional and national levels. But there is no hiding from the fact that it has now come to a humiliating end. Despite yesterday's statements of good intent from the Taliban spokesman, we all recall with trepidation their dark ages ideology of violence and repression. When I was in Camp Bastion, I was struck by the commitment of medics working in the field hospital, treating those who'd been injured on both sides of the conflict. Taliban fighters, in some cases, in adjacent wards to British soldiers. This magnanimous humanitarian generosity, I hope, will be remembered by those who've taken control of the country now. Today is not the time for hand-wringing and apportioning blame. Doubtless that will come. Now is the time, as the Right Honourable Gentleman for Leeds Central was just saying, to take urgent action to help maintain the security cordon around the military side of Kabul airport. And I'm delighted that the Defence Secretary is in his place and is able to provide reassurance to colleagues that the efforts of the British armed forces who are there at present are focused entirely on this effort. The Prime Minister's announcement today of a bespoke resettlement scheme for those Afghan citizens and their families who've helped our armed forces is welcome, but it needs urgently to cover others who've helped British soft power working in the country, including British Council, charities, contractors and aid agencies. I'll happily give way.
I'm very grateful to my right honourable friend. As a Salopian MP, my neighbour, will he take time in the remaining time left to him to pay tribute to all those Salopians who have served in Afghanistan, both in Divid and in the armed forces?
Grateful to my neighbour for drawing attention to the fact that both in neighbouring constituencies in Shropshire, we all have constituents who have served, as will every member of this House, over the last 20 years, many of whom having suffered injuries and in some cases tragically death. I think we have to ask ourselves, how did the intelligence analysis of the situation fail us so badly? We've known for some time from experienced voices such as General Petraeus of the criticality of US contractors to maintain both the US and Afghan air forces, which were vital for resupply. And once the 18,000 contractors were withdrawn, the troops on the ground knew there was no hope of resupply or reinforcement from the air, which was so critical to maintain their morale. Finally, I would just urge the Foreign Secretary, in winding up this speech, please to reflect on what the impact of this humiliation does to our integrated review.